Does the S24 Ultra do enough to stand out from its predecessor? Would you upgrade from Galaxy S23 to Galaxy S24? Let's see how the two compare. And before we begin, kindly subscribe, like and share the video. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra looks and feels a lot like its predecessor. Price, availability, and specs. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is now available. Unlike its predecessor, all models come with 12 GB of RAM and either 256 GB, 512 GB, or 1 TB of storage. The S24 Ultra starts at $1,300 and is available from all major carriers and retailers like Samsung, Amazon, or Best Buy. The S23 Ultra started at $1,200 but can frequently be found for less now that it's a year old. The 256 GB model only has 8 GB of RAM, while the 512 GB and 1 TB options have 12 GB. It's available for purchase from all major retailers and carriers all over the world. Design. The design hasn't changed much this year, but there's a more significant difference between the S24 and S23 Ultra than between the S23 Ultra and its predecessor. The front and rear glass have been flattened, making more of the titanium frame visible when you look at the device square on. On the bottom, the speaker is now one thin slot instead of multiple smaller ones, and the bottom of the S Pen has been flattened. Aside from that, the only major visual differences will be the new colors. Moving to what you can't see, the S24 Ultra ditches the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 from the S23 Ultra and replaces it with Gorilla Glass Armor, and the armored aluminum frame is now made of titanium. Both phones have an IP68 rating. Many of us, especially those who use the S Pen, will be glad to see the flat screen, while others will miss the feel of the curve beneath their fingertips. Display. Both phones have gorgeous displays, which should be no surprise. Samsung phones have boasted fantastic screens for years now. The displays are 6.8-inch 1440p AMOLED panels and can dynamically adjust their refresh rate between 1120 Hz. The differences concern brightness and general legibility. The new Gorilla Glass Armor is meant to reduce reflections by 75%, and the peak brightness is now an eye-watering 2600 nits on the new phone, up from the still impressive 1750 nits on the S23 Ultra. As we already mentioned, the S24 Ultra has ditched the curve, so there won't be any color distortion at the edges of the screen. The S Pen will be more usable, and screen protectors will be easier to fit. Performance. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 found in the S23 Ultra was a masterpiece. It allowed the phone to power through any app or game you threw at it, all while remaining cool and offering good battery life. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is said to be 30% faster while providing 20% better efficiency. The 8 Gen 3 even beats Apple's best iPhone chip, something not often seen. It means the S24 Ultra should be more than powerful enough to still be usable in 2031 when its support ends. The improvement some users might notice between the base models is extra RAM. The S23 Ultra only had 8 GB of RAM, unless you bought the higher storage, whereas the S24 Ultra gets 12 GB across the entire range. In day-to-day use, this wasn't too noticeable, other than some apps reloading more often during multitasking. If you're a heavy gamer or switch between multiple apps at once, that difference may be more apparent. The new AI features are likely the reason for the added RAM. The Pixel 8 and 8 Pro are virtually identical aside from the reduced RAM in the smaller model, and that was enough to make a lot of the AI features Google showed off 8 Pro exclusive. Whether you notice a difference because of the added RAM or not, it's good to have it going forward as we demand more of our phones, and Android gets updated with more resource-intensive features. Battery life. The S23 Ultra offered above-average battery life from its 5000 mAh cell thanks in large part to the display efficiency and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The S24 Ultra has a brighter screen, faster processor, and the same sized 5000 mAh battery, so battery life is similar, if not better. The display and 8 Gen 3 are meant to be even more efficient than before, which leads to solid battery life. Both phones can charge up to 45W via USB-C, as long as the brick supports PPS. Wireless charging is supported at 15W, and both phones can reverse wireless charge accessories. Camera. The cameras have been a focus of the Ultra line since the very beginning. Both phones feature a 200 megapixels primary camera, although the S24 Ultra is said to have an improved sensor, a 12 megapixels ultra-wide with autofocus and macro support, and a 10MP3x telephoto. The periscope zoom hardware is what differentiates the two devices. The S23 Ultra has a 10MP 10x lens, while the S24 Ultra drops the optical zoom down to 5x but bumps the resolution up to 50 megapixels. Samsung says that the increased resolution and larger pixels make the 50 megapixels 5x camera better at 10x than the S23 Ultra's optical 10x zoom. But in our review we found the improvements minimal, and there's little in this lens, or any of the S24 Ultra's cameras, to justify an upgrade for an S23 Ultra owner. The S24 Ultra gets some neat AI camera enhancements at least. It has similar generative AI photo editing to the Pixel, but the standout feature is in video. The phone can have the speed of any video and use AI to generate new frames. As mentioned above though, all of these features will come to the S23 Ultra eventually too. Software, technology. The 0x updates that debut with the new S series phone each year are always the most significant One UI update of the year. The S24 series comes with One UI 6.1, while the S23 Ultra runs One UI 6.0, both based on Android 14. One UI 6.1 is a significant upgrade. Samsung has gone all in on AI this year, with photo editing, live translation during phone calls, transcriptions, and more. The two phones share many similarities, from their screen size to their cameras and storage options. They also both come with an S Pen at no additional cost. Apart from Galaxy AI, which will eventually come to the Galaxy S23 family, the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor is among the biggest differences between the Galaxy S24 Ultra and S23 Ultra. There is no much upgrade on Galaxy S24, but you can purchase just because it's a new release. Bottom line, Galaxy S23 is great. Thank you for watching this video. Turn on the notification so that you can know when a new video goes up. Remember to subscribe, like and share.